So we'll start, Matthew. All set?
Perfect.
Yeah,
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Everyone is joining the room here. I'm going to get this this presentation up on the slideshow right now. Beautiful. Give me just a quick second here. Beautiful. You should see that screen. Everyone see that?
Yeah, I can.
Beautiful. Beautiful. How is everyone today? If everyone wants to message in chat just where you're from, I'll start. Right on. That's me. My name is Matt from 2H Media. Today we're going to be talking about Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and all things on Shopify. So, Mahio Montgomery, right on. I would absolutely advise that everyone changes their chat settings to chat to everyone so that we can all see. So if you want to go change your chat to everyone, then everyone can see where you're from. San Angelo, Scottsbluff, Nebraska, right on. Cool, you want to start with introductions?
Yeah. So, first off, thank you so much, guys, for making it to today's session. I'm super pumped about the BFCM weekend and the holiday season in general. Like, I love it. You know, the fun meeting family and throw in the potential to make like 5x the usual revenue. I'm all game for that. So so I feel this is like, if you are an e-commerce store, you need no introduction to BFCM, and Matthew is gonna give you one anyway. So
yeah.
So I love the whole, the entire aesthetic about BFCM. I love it. So we are going to be covering a lot of interesting stuff. Like Matthew's going to talk about what are the marketing activities that you can do, the timeline. Like, I looked at the slides and super cool, super excited about that, and what to do during the big week, and the post BFCM. What do you do after that? What do you do after that? So he's gonna talk about all of those things, and what's a good webinar without a good old Q&A at the end. So hang out for that, so you can have all your questions answered. So a little bit about Matthew. So Matthew's the founder and CFO of 2H Media. He has helped a lot of clients build their brand identities and help them solve their biggest challenges. He's also the sales and digital marketing lead. So the tips he's gonna give you, they're gonna come right from the heart. That's tried and tested. So, and
well, thank you very much.
I have one cool information about Matthew. He has worked in the movie Avatar. So, so I can't wait for this to get started. So yeah, let's get started. Yeah. Matthew, over to you.
Right on. Thank you very much. So whether this is your first Black Friday, Cyber Monday, or it is your 10th, we're going to start with the basics and move into some advanced topics. So yeah, my name is Matt. I work at a company called 2H Media. We are a Shopify partner. We're located just down the road from the Shopify Plus offices in Waterloo. So I'm pretty sure everyone knows about Shopify. We've been a partner for going on 5 years now, so we've been doing this a little while. There's me on the bottom. That's who's going to be walking you through this today. We do a ton of stuff in the realm of e-commerce related activities. I'm not going to try and sell you anything. This slide's on all of our stuff, but yeah, e-commerce is the really big one there. Let's actually talk about what we're going to get into today. So the first thing is marketing strategy, what's actually going to happen, how you can get ahead, that BFCM, that Black Friday, Cyber Monday timeline, what to expect this year. During the big week, that last week in November, great, what to expect. Follow up, so post-purchase, everything that happens post-purchase, and then we are going to leave time for a Q&A. So right off the hop, I'm going to introduce everyone. I'm going to put a link in chat. Where's that link in chat? Great. I'm going to put a link in chat. What we have done, it's a free download. You can get it. It looks like a Shopify store because it is a Shopify store. It is so I just threw a link in chat. It's a Black Friday, Cyber Monday canvas. What that is, it's similar to like a business model canvas, but it's going to allow you to start recording some of the notes and things that we talk about today, and you can apply them in real life going forward. And part of when it comes to that first item on that list is marketing strategy. If you're not writing things down, it's very hard to measure the effectiveness going forward. And then especially year over year, I definitely want you guys to have a good grasp on what did we do last year, what worked, what didn't work, did we leave ourselves enough time, did we have trouble getting our product out the door? If we can start a decent baseline with some simple recording, so you don't need anything special, it's just a PDF, you can download it, you can use it, share it, do whatever you want with it. Everything on that site is free. SprintPoint it's owned by us, so it's just how we distribute documents. But yes, please download it, use it. It's going to kind of walk you through all of the same things that we're going to go through in the workshop as well. And it's just how we track things. Before I get ahead of myself, there's going to be some quick housekeeping stuff. If you've got a question, throw it in chat. If it's like a really good question, I'm going to answer it right away. If it's like not super timely, I'll answer it at the end. I just adopted a cat and he is crazy, so you might hear him meow a little bit. Don't mind him. Human being working like you guys just in my living room. But yeah, let's move on. Great, the marketing strategy. So yeah, get your ducks in a row is going to be 2H Media is kind of famous for our little rubber ducks. We've got them all over the place. We like them nice in a nice straight line. Cool. If we refer to that Black Friday canvas that I just shared, the big thing is setting dates. You have a busy life. There's all of the other things that are happening going on. You need to set and start a date for this sale, and you need to start planning ahead. So that's where we draw the line in the sand and say, great, when does our sale officially start? But it's not worry about what we're selling just yet. But in terms of your planning and your inventory levels, let's get a date on the books on when we want to start and when we want to end. Okay. Based on that, how many days we actually have to work with. Everyone's going to be a little bit different. Every industry is a little bit different. There's lots of industries that start a week early. There's lots of industries that have, like, just because, you know, the Cyber Monday is come and gone, they'll continue the sale for the whole week. That's okay. It's whatever makes the most sense to each of you. On top of that, this year is a little bit different because of COVID. It's going to follow some of the same stuff about like 2020. If not everyone can make it, depending on your location, depending restrictions, if there's lockdowns, if there's complications, we definitely want to give our audience a little bit more time to make a purchase, just because there are external factors that, again, we can't control. So regardless of pandemic or not, we do want to give people the opportunity to buy, and if they do need a little bit more time to make that purchase, we want to give it to them. So start and end dates. Advertising budget. This is completely up to everyone based on your product, based on the profit margins, based on the industry. We do want to have a budget. This budget should be recorded. We want to come back to this number year over year and say, was it effective? Was it enough? Did we get good results on it? If this is your first Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and you don't have any previous data, it's going to be hard to actually come up with a budget in the first place. We're going to get to that a little bit later on, but we do need to set one. We need to adhere to it. We definitely need to have it in our focus all the time. We don't want to blow that budget out of the water unless it makes sense and we're getting good results on like day 3. And if we're not advertising at all, it's still a time budget. How much time am I willing to put into this sale? If it's going to take like 400 hours to prepare, I need to record that so that next year I allot myself enough time. So budget money, budget time. Your offer. Yes, your offer. Like, what is the sale? What is it? What are you trying to actually push? I would normally have like a bigger ticket item that is going to be something that is really going to draw a crowd. And then I can have a bunch of smaller things as well that might not be that big thing with the high margin, but are still going to be very popular items that are going to get people in through the door in the first place. We're going to talk about preparing sales channels, capturing the required media. So again, most people are going to need some photos, more timely photos based on, again, inventory levels, some behind the scenes stuff. You're probably going to want some fresh photography. If you are using landing pages, you'll know all about this. If you aren't, we're going to go through the landing pages and why those might be needed. Inventory and actually scheduling this is going to be something we'll talk about as well. We need to communicate with customers. The big thing this year is inventory levels. So most customers are expecting, if I purchase that Black Friday, Cyber Monday, I will have my product in hand by Christmas. There's a lot of Christmas shopping that's going on during this weekend. The goal is to get it in your customer's hand before Christmas. December 25th is too late. There's not a whole lot of people shipping product on the 25th. Most of the industry is going to be shut down a few days early. So we definitely need to make sure the product is in hand for our customer base before Christmas, so they have time to wrap it. We can handle any delays. And then, yeah, any special policies, return policies, instructions. If there's anything else, we definitely need to communicate that in our post-purchase as well. So we're going to go through each one of these items in this checklist. And again, that canvas is going to give you an opportunity to actually, again, print it and just record on it. Pen and paper. Let's do it old-fashioned. You can start with that if you're comfortable editing a PDF on your computer. You can do that as well. But again, start actually tracking this stuff to make each subsequent year more effective. And again, if this is your first, let's start some realistic goals. That's like part of it. If it's your first time actually doing this, let's not set ourselves up for failure right off the hop. It's the first one. Let's go in strong. But again, be as ambitious as you want to be. But keep that in mind. If it's your first one, you will make mistakes. It is going to be a little bit crazy. There's a lot of demand. It is what it is. But going into it for the second year, you'll be much more prepared. Okay. Item 1, start and end dates. Great. So right off the hop, it's a weekend sale. Black Friday, Friday to Monday. There's a ton of shopping that happens like right at midnight. It's like Friday at midnight, so Thursday at midnight, Friday at midnight, however you consider it. Right then, that's when traditionally the sale actually starts. If you look at that calendar, those are the dates for November. That is Black Friday, Cyber Monday for this year. Most businesses, again, start and end dates, those are the dates outlined in red. Many will start actually selling like a week early. And there's some rationale to this. The big guys, the big box stores, depending on your competition, if there are big box stores that do that, they're going to try to elongate that sale. They're going to try and gobble that up. And I really, really recommend you do as well. So advertising spend on these 4 days is going to be through the roof. You'll pay an arm and a leg then compared to like your advertising in July. If you are using paid ads, you don't have to. That's not something that is a make or break. But if you are in the paid ad space, whether that be on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Google, Bing, anywhere your paid channels are, these are going to explode. You're going to start seeing upticks on that a few weeks early as more and more inventory online gets bought. So the earlier or later you can start your sale, you will save money in ad cost, 100%. If you're not currently paying for advertising, don't. It's like the most expensive time of year to get involved. Don't worry about it. Focus on other things. Focus on other communication tactics, email marketing, social media. Go into that. And of course, those take time and not money, but there is not a premium on your time during this time of year. So you need to really think about extending the sale. So the easiest thing to do with this is let's go back in history and look at your competition for last year. And 2020 will kind of give you a baseline. And I would encourage you to look at 2019 as well, because there was pre-pandemic 2019. So that's going to give you a little bit a more clear picture on what your competition is doing. See what your competition did last year. If this is your first time, go back in time and figure out what they did the year before. Shouldn't be too hard. Look it up, scroll back in their social media a whole bunch. You can figure it out. Go back in time and see what they actually did. If you've done this before, you should have a good handle on when you're going to start, when you're going to end. And again, those start and end dates will need to be communicated with your customer base as early as possible. So those start and end dates should be saying coming soon on the website. It should be saying that. Now, here's a big thing. There is going to be, as soon as we kind of get really into the heart of October, there will be a dip in your October sales. And there's a reason for that. It's because people are going to wait. They're going to hold up and they're going to wait for a bigger sale in November. So there is a fine balance between announcing the start and end dates too early, because you'll just actually delay all of your purchasing in October and just shove it into November. And if they were going to make a purchase at full price, I'd rather them do that rather than wait, 30 days and buy it when it's 25% off. So think about that. That is a really good question. Question in chat: will this be recorded and available afterwards? That is a great question. The presentation slides will be available to you. I will make those available to you. I'll give you instructions about those at the end.
Yeah, I'm also recording this, so I'll send the recording to you.
Perfect. So good question. It is recorded. Take notes. Watch it after. If you signed up, that's no problem, Allison. That's just fine. So again, get your start and end dates. Put those in stone. And again, right into advertising spend. So again, if you're doing it, great. Just be aware that your traffic is going to, your dollar per 1,000 views is going to go off the charts. If you're not, that is okay. Not every business relies on paid advertising. But I would plan to ramp up the amount of communication you have with your target audience. So if you're sending an email campaign every 2 weeks or every week, or again, depending on the frequency, you are going to want to ramp that up. It is an attention commodity. So with advertising, time and money, you do need to drive traffic. And every single person, their inbox is just going to be absolutely filled to the brim. You know it's going to happen. Again, so early, often, and then high quality. So if we're sending a bunch of emailing out that is not paid advertising, let's say we're using something like Klaviyo or the Shopify built-in Shopify email system, or if you're using something like MailChimp or Constant Contact, depending whatever email platform you are using, you are going to want to make sure the images are good in those emails. The communication is very easy. We're not trying to go cheap on this. They need to look good, because they're going to, again, it's a quality and quantity game at this time of year. Your sale should be very straightforward. The terms and conditions of your sale, like, again, we're going to use common things right into this. The offer should be very, very simple. We don't want to have an offer that needs a paragraph. Is it a buy one, get one? Is it a flat dollar off? Is it free? What is it? What is it? A 10 to 15% off coupon at this time of the year is not going to do anything. That's like normal sales stuff. That's like low inventory stuff. If your competitors are offering something crazy, the blowout deals, it's going to be very difficult for you to stand out from the crowd if we're not doing something that's just a little bit bigger than normal. Now, this really depends. This really depends on your industry again. So I'm painting with very broad brushstrokes here. If you are reselling merchandise, so like, again, I'll use the Best Buy Apple. Like if Best Buy is going to have to go back to Apple and figure out what an Apple iPhone is going to go on sale for, they don't get to set the discounts. There's going to be some MAP pricing. If you're reselling other brands, make sure that you understand what the limitations are on offering those brands up for sale. If you control your product yourself, you really just need to play with margin. What are you willing to go to get product in the hands of the customer? How do we get the most out of that? But again, simple, 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 simple. Don't overthink it. Just think bigger, not more complicated. Complicated is wrong, just a little bit bigger. So keep it simple. Customers don't know as much about your brand and your products as you do. You're kind of living and breathing in it. So play around with that. What makes sense? With your start and end dates, if you've looked at your competition, you should be able to find what they've done in the past. You will have a benchmark. The benchmark will be different for everyone, every industry, every product, every state, every province, everywhere is going to be a little bit different. So if it's your first time running a Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale, that benchmark from your competition is going to be super, super. Yes, Caleb, I'm going to touch on that in a little bit. It's a good question. The sales channels, yes, great. We do need to plan to manage traffic. We really do. Do most people do a % off total or some limit the items? So there are some, so this is where, so Tori, that's a good question. I'm gonna answer that now because it does pertain to this. When you say do most people, it's really industry specific. So every single one of you in chat is going to have a different product, a different industry, a different audience. So there is no most people's. It's what makes sense for you. So the goal there is it's buy one, get one 50% off is kind of standard. Like you can go get that from any apparel store on any other Friday. What we're really looking for is something that's different. So dollars off, something that you don't normally offer. So whether that's free shipping at no minimum cost, if it's a percentage off on products like your core product that never goes on sale. If you're already running a sales strategy throughout the year, you're going to need to take that into account. But no, it just needs to be simple enough so that I can read 5 words and understand what I'm actually saving. If there are the opportunity to do bulk purchases, like buy 5 and save, buy 5 and get 5. Like it's like if we're going to play a volume game, that's super efficient as well. Depending if you're selling reusable products or not, or consumable products. But no, there's not a benchmark in terms of a percentage off, $1 off, a free shipping, an extra whatever. There's nothing there. So it really depends up to you. And again, I'd go back to my competition because this is where someone will be shopping you around. It is guaranteed that every customer is going to be looking for a deal. It's plain as day. They will be looking for a deal. Jesse, we offer 50% off one item twice a day, and then a certain percentage off the store the entire day. Very effective for us. Yeah, so that's a huge sale. That's a huge sale. So very common to do like a 1-day sale where it's like, yeah, of my Black Friday, Cyber Monday, it's like, great, there are 4 days in that list. If we're going to condense it down to just those 4 days, great. Today, we're selling this, it's 50% off. It's just today. Buy it, take it or leave it. We get to play with a scarcity mindset here. It's beautiful. We use one of our super awesome marketing persuasions. If you're going to give someone a time limit saying today only, it's 50% off, make the decision or get out. Super effective on Black Friday, Cyber Monday, super. So you do get to play with that time constraint. So that's a great offer. You get to play with time, you get to play with price. It's all of the same marketing persuasions. Great. Back to this. So that offer definitely needs to be communicated very, very easily. Today only, 50% off. Great. Love it. Super effective. You will have good results with that. Managing traffic. Okay, I'm going to go back up to a question we had in chat very quickly. Caleb. Touch on acquisition during time period versus targeting return visitors or warm audience. What's the balance? Okay, sweet. That's a great, I'm going to try to simplify that question. Okay, we have 2 types of audiences. Every business, you've got returning users, and then you've got new customers. So you're either a new or you're returning and you've got some experience with the business. Great. Break these down into 2 camps. The new customer acquisition is going to be super high. It's going to be super high. That's where your paid ads are going to be absolutely out wazoo. It's going to be very difficult to get in front of these people because you don't have any retargeting. You don't have any lookalike audiences. They're going to be the most expensive audience to have. Not a great time of year to be expanding into this audience. What you can do with this audience is start targeting them today. The ad spend has not started ramping up at this point. So if you are looking at building those warm audiences, get your brand in front of them early. Get a bunch of touch points in September, October, and then let it cut. As soon as the ad spend ramps up, which will, turn it on for a few days at the end of November. So you have some touch points with them at a much cheaper CPM. So CPM cost per milli, cost per 1,000 views. Great. Get in front of them early, get some touch points, build that audience up, and then turn it back on. Returning customers, camp 2. I would absolutely, if you've got dollars to spend during that expensive time, I would target them. If you're using any kind of customer segmentation, whether that be through email, whether that be through Facebook, Google, whatever you're actually using to segment your audience, I would be really looking at that VIP crowd. Like, what is a VIP customer? Have they made 5 purchases? Have they spent X amount of dollars that puts them above the average customer? I would be going after those. Those are our big guys. Those are our core audience that we really don't want to lose. I'd be putting 90% of my effort into those guys. They've shown me a bunch of attention all year. I can kind of count on them. The new stuff is going to be harder and more expensive. Like 90-10, that makes sense? If it's your first time running any of this stuff, it's probably going to be too late in the game to get in front of your audience, 40 days out from Black Friday, Cyber Monday. I think I do the math, it's like 2 months. But yes, we don't want to try a whole bunch of new things at the most expensive time of the year. It just kind of exaggerates any of the mistakes you'd make. Great. We don't want to leave any sales channels behind. So the whole purpose of this slide is, if we're communicating on our website, whether that be Shopify, WordPress, Amazon, whatever you're doing, whatever sales channels you've got, that communication needs to be 100% reflected everywhere, very consistently. So if you've got a Facebook shop, if you've got a bunch of different entry points, make sure those are up to snuff. With that, even if you've got in-store social media, make sure that's very, very, very well communicated. Cool. Assets. So based on where your audience is, again, a rubber duck, based on what you are selling, based on that offer, you're probably going to need some photography to make it match. Photography is a simple one. You should be able to create this yourself. I definitely would not be relying on your suppliers to give you Black Friday, Cyber Monday stuff. You might want to throw, depending on where you are. So in Canada, there's going to be a lot of fall aspects to it. There's going to be a lot of winter aspects to it. If you're in the southern states, it's, again, you're going to rely based on making those products stand out with your audience. So audience values, go back to what they're expecting. Again, baseline it against the competition previous. So if they did a bunch of great photos on their Instagram last year, again, that's what you're going to be competing against this year as well. So if their photography and their video, they're running a lot of reels, if they're running a lot of TikTok videos, that's where your benchmark is set. So if yours aren't up to snuff, now's the time to be creating that content today. Go forward, make it, be sitting on it, have it ready to go, because the closer we get, there's going to be a million more people that are going to want photography. So photography is going to go up in value. People are going to be busy. They're not going to meet your timelines. You're going to want to get ahead of this as soon as possible. Editing takes time. Now's the time that we can make a mistake and it's not going to cost us a bunch of lead time. If we make a mistake in early October, late September, lots of time to make up for it. We start pushing that, we're going to put a lot of stress on it. If the store needs a facelift is relative. If we need a bunch of new imagery for our collections, if we want to put something out there on the homepage, have that stuff ready to go. Get out in front of it. Landing pages. These are fantastic tools where you can actually have these fully built, ready to go, just private or invisible to your customer, your audience. So you can have all the copywriting done, all of the communication, all of the photography, and then you're just waiting to turn these on, especially if you're going to have ads pointing to them. You don't get a whole lot of SEO value out of running landing pages specifically for a sale, because you'll probably be turning the page off once the sale's done and redirecting it back into the main site. But a landing page is definitely going to make things a little bit easier. There's tons of things that can go right and wrong with landing pages. It's, again, keep it simple, keep it honest, don't make it complicated. If you're concerned about actually getting a landing page set up, we can talk about that. But again, it's just a condensed, it's like a website on one page. It's just like, here is the offer, X product, X collection. It's all there. There's not a whole bunch of everything. A landing page really does give us an entry point into the site that we can track how much traffic went there, dollar spend for entries. Again, we get a bunch out of it. If you're new, I would start exploring landing pages yesterday. If not, you might be too late to the game to actually get landing pages set up, depending on your current workload. Inventory management. It's a huge one. This is an absolutely huge one. It's if I've got 1,000 of something and my day goes really well, how am I going to manage? This is something that you are going to need to figure out on an individual level. If I've got 1,000 of something that I need to offload for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, what will I do when those 1,000 are gone after my first 2 days? Do I have a backup plan if this sells out? And this is like when everything is going right, what happens when I have sold that 1,000? What happens when I'm out of inventory? Is there a plan B that I can do? How fast do I need to put that in place before I'm going to start kind of losing some of my audience based on, you know, not available? They're gonna start turning around. This is where those new customers, those two camps, the new customers, we start losing these people in terms of not managing our inventory right. It's going to be trouble ever getting them back. The VIPs, that core audience, they'll come back, they like us, they know that things happen. The new audience are not going to give us the time of day again. So you are going to need to figure out, how do I manage my stock levels? Does the shipping policy need to change? Yeah, super common for the shipping policy to change around Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Most aren't doing returns until the new year. It's definitely important that you update this stuff and get in front of it. You can update that. Again, that's something that you can update today, and you can have a special clause in your inventory, in your terms and conditions or your shipping policy, just saying, great, yep, you know, it's 90 days from purchase, but we don't accept returns between X and Y just because you guys will be busy. Just again, retail stores do it, e-commerce stores should do it as well. And then, yeah, it should probably be a temporary change. It's just because this time of year is unique. Completely up to you, but I would communicate that with customers and have that up on the correct pages for sure. We've broken this down into a timeline. It's pretty straightforward. A month before, 2 weeks before, a week before, and then we're going to go into like the week, the big week. Great. We're going to try and do as much preparation as possible, as far out as possible. So I know it says a month there because it's October in a few days. It is far ahead as possible as you can start planning this stuff. It's good. I don't like reading off the slides, but I am going to read some points. Yeah, if you've got collections that need to get built on Shopify, if you've got a bunch of tagging to do, if you've got a bunch of figuring out to do on the back end, yeah, get it done. Just leave it. Don't turn it on yet, but get it done. Your policies, yeah, make sure if I was a lawyer, which I'm not, I'd be strongly advising you to get your paperwork, your I's dotted, your T's crossed, get that figured out. If you need a live chat app, now's the time to figure that out. One of the biggest things that is going is people communicating. So again, I want to show good communication. I want to get in front of it if people have questions, especially if you're selling a complicated product. Maybe it needs assembly instructions. Maybe it's fragile, delicate. Maybe it's a higher value piece. The goal there is giving the opportunity to actually converse data or in real time with an audience. Now's the time to put that chat app in place. Test it with your current audience. If you install that chat app 2 days before Cyber Monday and you're starting to play around with it and you haven't got it worked out on your phone, it's going to be a disaster. It's not going to be good. Figure the difficult stuff out now. Prep the media, all of it, photos, video, get it all done. Sit on it for a few weeks. Have it feel good. Tease it with your VIP audience. If you've got an audience already that you do early releases to, get that in front of those people and get some feedback on it. The ad copy, if you're running ads, I would have that prepped. If it's on Google, just leave the campaigns off for the time being. Same thing with Facebook, same thing with TikTok, same thing with it. Like, again, get it to where you want it and then leave it so that you can start. If we go back to our camps, that new audience, that new customers, start running those ads immediately. Get that in front of them right now. Get some touch points on them so that we can go back to them and retarget them a little bit later. You don't need to mention a big sale coming up. They know, everyone knows, like it's like I'm not going to bore you with the numbers on how much money gets spent during this weekend. It's billions of dollars. It's an incredible amount of money. They know it's coming. Everyone knows it's coming. You don't need to bring it up yet. But if we do want to get people into an affinity audience, now is like pretty much the last opportunity you can do it before that dollar starts ramping up. And the last big thing that again, this should be set up from day one. It's just a reminder. Some of your post-purchase needs to get done. Abandoned cart emails, reminders, reminders for product reviews when they actually get the product. Everything post-purchase you can get going right now. So there's going to be a ton of that. No one has 100% conversion rates. That would be ridiculous. But so there's a lot of abandoned carts. There's a lot of browse abandonment. There's a lot of things that are going on where people come and look and they don't actually purchase. Get that stuff going now. You should be able to collect at least a month's worth of data on that. Depending on how much traffic you have, you should be able to collect a little bit. And if those things are, if we can make those, even with a few tweaks and get maybe a little bit A/B testing on the abandoned cart reminders, that might make a massive difference come for the big sale. If we can get, if we can optimize that and you can get an extra 10% out of it, that's massive. So a month before, do the heavy lifting. If you don't, it will be too late, and I really advise not to do it because it'll just create headaches. So if you don't get that live chat app installed, forget it. The window of opportunity is gone. You will just create more headaches for yourself. 2 weeks before, now you should really be teasing content. You should be doing all kinds of creative things on social media. You can do behind the scenes stuff. You can do close-ups of the product and have people guess what's going on. All kinds of creative things based on your brand, based on what the audience expects. But yes, you do need to mention it. Now you can start mentioning all kinds of things. It's 2 weeks. You will be in the heyday of the big guys will be mentioning it. It'll be on every TV channel. It'll be on every radio station. It'll be on all over the place. So you need to kind of be in that mix as well. Gift cards are a huge opportunity. Gift cards are, cash is good if they want to pay now and get later. Promoting gift cards, it's fairly straightforward. You spend $75 and get an extra 15% or a $15 gift card. Get that second purchase from them because they'll be buying at full value. So the big thing there is if you are promoting gift cards and you want to do like $100 gift card but only pay $75, or we recommend get one gift card for $100 and the second for $100, something like that. The second purchase is going to be a full value purchase later on. That's how we can definitely get more people into the camp one, which is the new customer. And they won't be getting a discounted rate at future. And most times they're going to be buying something that's going to be more value where the gift card won't cover the full purchase. It'll be discounting the product and they're going to make the rest of the purchase on credit. So the gift cards are absolutely massive, and they're cheap and they're easy, and it doesn't bog down your sales pipeline. It doesn't bog down the fulfillment. If you want to sell a bunch of gift cards, you can handle all of those additional fulfillment, not in heyday, not in like the busiest month of the year. So really effective to do. The social media, this is kind of take it for granted. Yeah, you're going to need to ramp this up. And it's like if you're doing one a day posting or one every 2 day posting, like double it, triple it. Is like there can't be enough. You should have had this planned out a month before in terms of content. So this shouldn't be a ton of work. We're not generating new content at this point. We're releasing the content that's already been created. So it will take a little bit of time off your plate. It'll just be higher frequency. All of that content should have been planned, again, a month prior. Now we should just be releasing. If there's a bunch of uptick, depending on how you communicate with your audience, there might be more commenting, more liking, more retweeting, more sharing, more of that. But again, we're not taking new stuff. It's too late. If you are doing a bunch of single sent email campaigns, like if you're doing like the actual audience targeting, 2 weeks before is kind of, you're in the heyday with everyone else. I would start teasing the early content with that VIP crowd. The new stuff, if you've collected a bunch of emails prior to, I would definitely be hitting them up as well. A week before, great. Avoid any major changes. Don't be changing things now. There's a bunch of communication that's already been gone out. Don't try and change a bunch of stuff. It's now, again, keep it simple. They already know, they've had a bunch of touch points. We're not changing the shipping policy at this time. We're not creating confusion. That's like one of the biggest things. We're not trying to do new things right now. The collections can go live the sales collections can go up. All of those product pages can go up depending on, again, based on your start and end date. Those things can be live. If you are advertising, you're going to need to ramp it up because your budget's not going to go nearly as high. I would be completely looking at the homepage going, this needs to highlight the specific products. The homepage is really going to need to focus on getting people. That funnel needs to lead people into the sale. So if you've got 3,000 SKUs on your site or 500 SKUs or 50 SKUs, we really need to direct them into the ones that make the most sense. So that face list on the homepage is really going to make sense going, I'm removing things. I'm getting things out of the way. I'm making it simpler to reduce the amount of clicks. And then retargeting the email recipients. And I say email recipients, but it's the retargeting should be happening right now. If they've got a bunch of page visits because they were looking at deals, 2 months ago, and now's the time they want to buy, that's where we really need to hit them back with a special offer or something, communicating like now's the time. And again, back into that timeline saying it's today only. Hudson's Bay, not sure how familiar the whole audience is with Hudson's Bay, huge retailer in Canada. They do one-day deals all the way leading up to this. It's 40 days in a row. It's a one-day deal, and they're ridiculous. It's in-store only because they've got a bazillion retail locations. It's one day only, and it's like holy, they call it Bay Days. It's ridiculous. They make a ton of money on it, and if you miss it, you miss it. And the goal there is get people into the store 40 times because they can't pre-buy, they can't post-buy. It is what it is. And you get a bunch of value out of it. So key points again, this will be reflected on that canvas. Now this is like, again, we're general because everyone's a little bit different. So if you've got customizable products that need something special, there is going to be a delay in this. And if you are selling something complicated that has maybe a longer buying cycle and you do need a touch point with someone, that's just the way it is. You're going to need to have some of this stuff set up. And I would be doing all of my testing. That live chat is going to be huge. If you're not running one, it's well worth it. They're super cheap. And it's, if I make a half a sale a month, it pays for a chat app. So Shopify actually has one. It's basic. If your budget's really tight, if you're new to this, there is a beginner one. You're going to want to grow out of this as soon as possible, but it is a starting point. Klaviyo, we recommend Klaviyo. We're a Klaviyo partner as well. We do a ton of email marketing. They're fantastic to us, so I kind of give them a shout out. But yes, now is the time to be collecting emails. Once the ads kind of take over, you're pretty pooched. 1 week, again, it's pretty much just ad spend, keep it simple. The big week. Yeah, the big week. Drum roll. Great, drum roll. You are going to, just like the slide said, pivot from outreach to upkeep. Really, really, really straightforward. We are managing the line. It's a queue. We're not looking to fill the queue anymore. If the queue is not there, you've got bigger problems. But if there's a queue of people there, we're not looking for more people to fill the queue. We're looking at managing the people in front of us. Really key responsibilities. If you have a chat app, the faster you answer it, the better. So like 2 minute, like you got to be on this. It's like, it's going to be, have some Red Bull or coffee or whatever you need. Have whoever's helping you. If it's a team that you're running, it's like great. Those need to be responded to very, very quickly. Social media is different, and it says an hour, but it's really, if it's a DM, I treat that like a chat app. Those DMs, those private messages need to be answered ASAP. If it's an actual message on a post, those things can get lost in a hurry because those can fill up. But again, we're looking at how many eyeballs can you have where your customers are normally communicating with you, an hour tops. Emails again, if you're receiving a lot of email inquiries, you're probably not receiving a ton of the other things just based on your industry. You should have some canned responses set up for these emails. We didn't touch on that in the previous slide. I probably should have. If you do get a lot of email inquiries, canned messages are like your biggest thing. Just getting in front of that because you'll need them. The whole idea is how many good quality conversations can I have in this spread of days? Yeah, chat app. Do you recommend a chat app if you're running a business by yourself? Yes. Yes, 150% yes. Especially on this weekend. You can turn it off afterwards, but again, it's super, super common to have. And again, these are recommendations. If it's a small business and you've communicated with your customers, your audience, and that brand is representing a small business, it's kind of taken, it's should be intrinsic in your branding that like, great, I don't have the resources of someone with a staff of 50 to manage this. So great, if you can't do a 1 to 2 minute response time, can it be 3 to 4? Can it be 5? Can you have something set up just letting people know that, yeah, there is a flood of things and you are trying to provide great customer service? Chat apps are just super, super popular. It does depend on your audience. Like if you're selling products to seniors, probably not a good idea to have a chat app because they don't use it. If you're selling products to younger individuals, like 40 and under, yeah, tons. Live chat, I will put a link for a live chat in there. It's cost effective, it's good. It's called Twilio. Good. It's got all of the integrations you'll need for. Yeah, Twilio is the one you want. I'll put a link in the chat for that. Great. The social media stuff, you should really be focused on behind the scenes content now. Like if you're getting a bunch, you'll see it from like the larger agencies. You'll see like their war room, they'll call them, and it's just like people answering phones and people managing ad spend. And it's just like a bunch of, at the end of the day, it's just a bunch of sweaty people that have had enough of customer service at the end of the day, but it's a week long. And those behind the scenes things really go a long way with your customer base because it shows the effort. It shows that, great, I'm not just at the end of the day, we're all trying to make a buck, but again, we're trying to show off our people assets, and showing the people behind the process really does go a long way. So if you were to do something on the social side, it's people, because they're going to see enough of your product. And then promo, it's like, yeah, if you're running a time sensitive event, it's like it starts now and it ends. So if you do want to have that, I would have some filters in place. So if I've already bought, I'm not getting that email again. Keep it clean. Keep that email as tight. Great. The number one responsibility, you're running a business and the goal is to grow. And to do that, like I said, you're going to record your notes. You will have shortcomings. That's just part of how a business works. You're going to have strengths, you're going to have weaknesses. Record it all down, put it on that canvas, refer back to it next year. Did you have enough time to plan? What went right? What should we double down on next year? What shouldn't we touch next year? How much is this going to change because of COVID? I don't know. It's going to be kind of a roller coaster ride for a lot of industries, especially if you're importing things in terms of inventory. But the goal there is how much sold. What if I have 2 offerings, which one performed better? Record it. You won't remember next year. I guarantee you won't remember those fine details next year. And that's when we really need those fine details to make a really big splash. Record it, put it in the drawer, come back to it in 12 months. Follow up. So it's going to be crazy. Hopefully for everyone. Hopefully everyone's making some good numbers. The follow-up is really important. So it should cool off after that week, which is good because people have spent a bunch of money. That the ship has sailed. We really need to ramp up communication now. So obviously shipping orders as early as possible is ideal. You're going to need to do that. You're going to need to mark those emails, those orders. You're going to need to trigger your email sends. However you're marking that. If it's clay deal, you're just going to be marking it as fulfilled, or however you're marking those packages actually leaving. If you're using tracking numbers, if you're using any of that stuff, you're going to need to communicate that with people. This is where your customer, as a smaller business, this is where your customer service should be able to kick the big guys in the pants. It should be better. It should be more frequent. It should be more accurate. You should take the time to actually get this right. The follow-up emails, we did this in 2020. If you're capturing phone numbers, which you probably are, making a call 1 out of every 10 people and ask them how they felt you're going to build long-term relationships. And most people don't. Pick up the phone and call some of your customers. First-time customers existing, call them. It's wild. If you want to increase that word of mouth marketing, they will tell other people, oh, I was talking to the owner of such and such. Yeah, they called me. It's like, that's how we make that work. It's that personal touch. If you're doing handwritten cards actually inside your fulfillment bot, like within your fulfillment, again, highlight that they're supporting a local business, that they're not supporting Walmart, you know, they're in the right place, make them feel good. Even a thank you on a piece of paper and a signature goes a long, long way. Great. If you need to schedule a new offer before Christmas, do it. Include repeat purchases if you're still sitting on a bunch of inventory. You can absolutely go back and say there's more due to popular demand. We just got more inventory in, we ran out. I don't care what you're actually going to say there. But again, if you need to offer that sale again, just because you either ran out of the inventory and you weren't able to sell out of stock, or you weren't sure if you were actually going to get it and you didn't want to promise things you couldn't deliver, schedule it again. Tori, yeah, I absolutely recording it is half the battle. Most from an agency side of things, we normally start with, we want to try to benchmark. How did you do? We want to clearly define what success looks like. If you're doing it for the first time, it's hard. It's really hard to define what success looks like when you can't compare it to something else. You can't grow 10% of zero. You've never done it. Great, we are into the Q&A. So I can do some deep dives into questions. Really, there's a lot there. I kind of skimmed over a whole bunch. That canvas is going to walk you through even more. You can email me, Matthew@2h.media. Slides, I'll send them over, PowerPoint and PDF. I only live on LinkedIn because I'm a B2B educator. So LinkedIn is where you can find me. Questions, you can call me, you can email me. Great. I'm going to go to the chat for some. If anyone has any direct questions, you can throw them in the chat. I do have a couple right off the hop. Give me a second here. There are some questions that I have right off the hop. Give me a second. Great. So how different do you think this year's BFCM is going to be compared to previous years? It's hard. It's hard. It's a good question. It's hard to anticipate these kind of things. I wish I had a crystal ball. I really did. Some industries are really having a hard time with inventory. So if you're sitting on inventory in those industries, I would make a few calls to shipping providers coming from overseas and just figure out what the backlog is. And if people are struggling with inventory and the product is really in demand, you might not need to offer like a super crazy sale to get all of the purchases, because your product just might not be available from your competitors. So doing a little bit of research in terms of that. I know that containers coming from overseas have gone up like 800%. It's stupid expensive. I think it's like 25K for a container now, which is, it used to be like 3. So like they've gone up huge. If you haven't locked in any pricing, it's going to be hard for you to get a container between now and then. Like normally you're going to need to do something with air freight. It's different for every state and every province. So in Canada, they're all over the place. Alberta is way different than Ontario. I assume it's the same in the States. We've got a bunch of clients down in Florida, Portland, like they're all over the place, and everyone's different. Everyone's different. They've got different things going on. So again, you should take it with a grain of salt in terms of, are people going to be out and buying things like usual, or is it going to be more condensed into like, is in-person shopping available versus is it not? Take that into account, because if it is, the online is going to take a back seat to it, because people are just going to want to get out and go and do things. But again, it depends on your audience. If you're selling to an older crowd, there's a lot of older individuals that are preferring to buy online just to stay safe and personal preference. So
we have a couple of questions from Caleb and
yeah.
Vanessa.
Do you have any favorite sales or offers in December after the BFCM is over? Yes. So there's a couple of sales that we like to run, and we definitely encourage you to do this depending on what you guys are selling. I like to reward people because I think it builds better brand awareness. So if customer X buys something, I want to go back to them and say, we've only made, so scarcity play again, there's only 100 of these available, and they're only available to this subset of people. And I'm going to give it to them early. So the goal there is I'm going to reward the people that have shopped previous. I'm going to tell them that it's unique. So if you're able to do that, it's definitely going to heighten the awareness. It's definitely going to help the brand really distinguish its audience. If you're selling something that is, again, just like a mass, if you're selling candles, something that you can't get down in terms of quantity, I'd be doing something more winter focused. So if we depending on your inventory, this is going to be something that is, I would be going with more timely events. So it is gearing up for Christmas. I'd be focusing on smaller items that ship easier, faster, lower cost to ship. But favorite sales are fast. People are running out of time before Christmas. So it's like, I need you to get this in your hands in 2 weeks. So it's like free expedited shipping. I'd be trying to figure out, how do I get my brand into that household before Christmas? So like, I need to get this from A to B in a week. It's tough to do, but if you can do that, there's a lot of people that miss the big sale that still need gifts for Christmas. So I'd be looking at all of the auxiliary purchases, targeting families, getting those ideas in front of them. In terms of sales, again, keep it simple, dollars off, more than one, like buy X, get Y, like again, all of the basic stuff without getting too complicated. The one-day sales are really, really effective if you've got a big audience, but like a one-day sale, if you've only got an email list of 2,000 it's not as effective, because again, you're not going to have 100% conversion. If you've got bigger numbers, those one-day sales really, really rad up. How to increase website visitors on this weekend? Should we invest in ads? So if you've never invested in advertising before, I strongly recommend not, because it won't turn out in your favor, especially if you're managing those ads on by yourself. It's the most competitive time of year, and it's the most expensive time of year. So if you have not, don't invest in everything else. Every form of non-paid media you can do that instead, because you won't pay a premium. So website visitors, that's your social media, that's your personal networks, that is your email marketing, that is like quite literally, like if you've got something in your community, that's where you get in touch with your chamber of commerce. That's where you, like, if you're going to try and promote local, talk to the mayor, call the mayor, say, here's, like, put on something that actually feels good. If you have a global audience, it's really, or a slightly larger audience, it's very, very difficult to start increasing website traffic at the most expensive time of the year. The ramp up to Black Friday, Cyber Monday is very important. But again, it was an earlier question in terms of repeat customers versus new. Now is the time to focus on new. It's going to turn off very, 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 very soon.
So Caleb has one more. Any unique? Yeah,
for app over this time. So, Caleb, good question. Well, give me more information about the app. Which app are you referring to?
I am like 95% sure he's referring to the mobile app. So Caleb, I am assuming you are a Vajro customer.
Oh, okay. No, this is a great question. Yeah, why don't you take this one?
So I would say, like Matthew said, like just as you are giving your website a facelift, give your mobile app one too.
Yes.
So, and like play around with all the features. Like you got countdown timers, leverage FOMO, do a flash sale. You could do that. So, we will be doing a series of 30-day 30 BFCM tips. So I'm gonna send you all of those. So
yeah. There's one more question I want to answer. So with that, that's a really good point. Exploring the full features of the software that you've got is really where you get the value out of software. If you are a basic user and if you're not really getting into the meat of it, you're only on the surface level, you're leaving a lot behind. You do have a little bit of time to play with really learning how all of the features work. So the goal is, if you aren't comfortable very thoroughly with the software, that is your business. Software is your business. That's how the business is actually running day to day. It's how your customers are interfacing with your brand. So you should become what we call like a power user. You should understand how the nuts and bolts of this work very, very efficiently. So yeah, play around. Now's the time to test things. So if you're not doing that already, it's time to start. If you are doing that already, if you're already a power user, continue doing it. How to gain customer trust. I think this might be the last question. We're just over one. How to gain customer trust when you are new in market? Okay, so that is a great question. It depends what market you're in. And you go back to audience values. You go back to, what does the audience care about most? If it's price, and you're trying to build trust around price, it's going to be very, very, very difficult to gain trust over price. You should be targeting what the user is looking for and highlighting that. So if it's quality, we should be zooming in. We should have a lot of close-up images, and it's the quality of the fabric or the quality of the metal or the quality of the production. Or the goal there is to go back and see, what does the audience care about the most? And I'm going to give them that. So trust comes with show, which is image content, video content, testimonial, social proof. So that's the show content, and tell, which means the company, your brand, needs to demonstrate that time and time again. So if you don't have a time factor to actually have that repeat content hitting them over and over and over, I need to actually get the material in front of them. So pictures, testimonials from the industry, past customers, that's where I'm going for. That's how we build trust. And again, call the people that are purchasing from you. If you can't get a testimonial, there's a problem. Get in front of that and actually have a face-to-face interaction with someone.
Totally gonna steal that one, Matt. The show and tell, you guys can expect it in your emails like next week. I'm gonna. So
yeah, it's gotta go hand in hand. It's what you would expect.
I have a question. So over time, like after having worked with so many folks, so one thing people ask, like, how do I set realistic revenues? So everyone says set realistic, but how do I like, particularly when I don't have a last year's benchmark?
So setting realistic revenue goals is all over the place, because it is very difficult to set if you don't have a benchmark. If this is like your first 6 months of selling a product, you should expect an increase. There's more money spent now than ever. There are some factors you have to take into consideration. Is like, great, there's more dollars being spent now. There's also more competition. Everyone's doing this, small, big, medium, like all across the board. The revenue goals you should be trying, most businesses have their best month here. So I don't know what a bad month looked like. I don't know what the average looks like from this question. You should be trying to get much higher than average. So if I'm looking at that I want 100% increase over the average at this time of year. I'm also factoring in, I'm putting in way, in terms of time, I'm putting in like 100% more time effort into this as well. And in business, you kind of get what you put in. So if your normal monthly marketing and the way that you treat your business, you're already doing a lot, and now you switch it into this, it's going to be relatively one-to-one. If we can't get a bunch of planning, if we can't have a backlog of content, we can't really do a good job with this, it's going to be a little bit more flat. We have to actually put in the effort to get out the reward. So if we can get ahead of this and put more time in, you should be able to have a double. And that double is, again, very, very limited, but it should be able to happen. But again, double for some. If they've only sold, 10K worth of product in the last 6 months, you should be able to do, and that's not going to make or break your business at the same time. But it does depend on what you're selling. It does depend on the margins. It does depend on what your competition did the year before. It depends on. It really does depend on COVID. If people are doing in person versus not. It depends on if you're actually going to listen to some advice and get more content in front of people.
Absolutely. So I think the questions are all done. Like we've answered all the questions here.
Right
So
on.
yeah, we have one more question from Caleb.
Ad spend should increase 2 to 3 times. If you're comfortable with ad spend, as long as you're getting a good return, it should scale. Your ad spend should scale at all times. This isn't just about Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Is if you've got inventory and your ads are profitable, they should be scalable, which means if I'm making my margins, I should be putting more money into ads. So I would be playing this very, very close, saying if I increase my ad spend 2 to 3 times, as long as I'm comfortable with my margins, I want to scale that in real time. So I'd be looking at, if I'm running paid ads on during this week, I'd be looking at my campaigns every 4 hours. As fast as I could get information from the platform, I'd be looking at going, what's actually happening, my cost per click, what's happening to my conversion value, what products are actually being bought. I'm going to reference those, like is the thing I'm advertising actually the thing that's being purchased if I've got more product on the site. And I would be playing that, and I would be playing with those numbers in real time. So you will have, I'm not going to say that the cost of ads goes up 2 to 3 times. It either is a bump, there is a premium, but again, you are, and that's where we don't want to make mistakes at those rates. But if you are finding good conversion value, more ad spend all day long. If every click is profitable, my question to you is get more clicks and spend more money, because it's just profit. Trading $10 for $20, I'll do it all day.
Yep. So
cool. If that's it,
happy
to answer any more after. This has been a blast. Hopefully everyone has a good Black Friday, Cyber Monday. With that, I think we're
I think
we're good. I think we're good.
That was wonderful, Matt.
Thank you.
Really good. So, and I think I'm pretty sure like all the attendees, everyone here, they, like they had a lot to take away from this. So I sure had a lot to take away from this.
I'm glad.
Most of the stuff you said, it's, beneath the veneer of e-commerce. Like, I, as a SaaS marketer, like I had a lot to take away from this, start early. Like we've started preparing for the BFCM soon. So
early.
Yeah.
Early, as early as you can get to it. And that's with all things. And that's not just Black Friday. That's like if you have any holiday campaigns that you're running, as an owner, can I prepare a little bit earlier to relieve the stress that I have the day of? And that should go back into better time management skills and better customer service. If I'm less flustered, if I'm less stressed, if I feel more, even if I feel more confident, that is going to show through in all of my communication. And that's where we start winning people and turning them in. That's where we start looking at those lifetime value numbers for customers, those important ones. How much am I going to get over time? If I can get in that mindset, looking at, great, they're going to buy a little bit from me today. I'm never going to get rich off of one customer on one transaction, but if I get that customer for life, it really does make an impact. And that's where we really want to say, let's line ourselves up for that success. Because again, you get the best Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale on the history of the planet. But again, the business has to turn on next month as well, right? So it's like, I need the consistency, the right frequency, and then the right attitude mindset. And that does go back to like, great, how do we actually treat ourselves as a business? So plan a little bit, test a little bit, record everything, cycle and repeat.
Yeah. And I think you touched upon this as well, but like it's very easy to get caught up in the marketing aspect of it while completely ignoring the supply chain part of it. So
yes, the supply chain, that's like the big one that's like on everyone's mind, just because COVID is throwing a wrench in the gears. And if you don't have product, it's really hard to sell. And if we don't like disappointing anyone, if you're taking their money and not giving them what they're looking for in a timely fashion, that's where we start looking at going like, okay, great, you're never going to get another sale. So what was the point? What was like, I need all of the blocks to line up. So I completely agree. And again, just be honest. if you're having supply chain problems, there's a good chance that everyone in your industry is having supply chain problems. So again, work to the advantages that you've got. Do something better. Don't the deceptive practices always come back to kind of bite you. So don't bother.
Wonderful. So love it. So I think we don't have any questions anymore. And thank you so much for your time, Matt. And thank you everyone for staying till the very end. I hope you guys
that was good.
Successful. Yeah. Have a wonderful day, Matt. And
absolutely. Thank you, everyone. It was very nice. This has been an awesome opportunity, and good luck to everyone on the upcoming sale.